Okay. All right. So welcome everyone to our Egypt call. We are so excited to bring you this mini workshop, and we're going to be working with the ancient Egyptian mystery schools. And so really just bringing some information forward on those. And then also working with alchemy, right? And so first and foremost, what I'd like you to know about mystery schools in general is that they are a way to revisit mystical traditions. And usually it's not exclusively through the lens of, say, an oral tradition or like ritual lineage. It's more in a way of going directly to the source of information and examining such things as ancient structures or ancient objects and what secrets they hold, what information they have within them. Okay. And with that, as we're exploring tonight, we are going to be using alchemy. And alchemy in general is transformation. In the olden days, alchemy was specifically geared towards transforming, let's say, precious metals, right? So taking one substance, let's say a solid to a liquid or a liquid to a vapor, things like that. But now alchemy is really used as a general term for metamorphosis, right? And so tonight we are going to be utilizing those mysterious Egyptian teachings to help us metamorph, to help us transform. Okay. So my name is Sarah Neese, and I help spiritual entrepreneurs hone their skills, launch their spiritual businesses, and expand them to a global retreat level. I've been psychic all my life, and outside of that, I've trained for over a decade in shamanism and shamanic healing, along with several other healing modalities. I've been a full body channel for about 8 years, and I do work with the Egyptian energies in that capacity. And I'm also a trained remote viewer. So really, this work is my heart's work. I enjoy it, and I love helping people really go within and discover their true divine calling as well. Okay, so Juliet, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Juliet Carrillo, and I'm here in Northern California. My company is Sacred Soulful Journeys, and I am a healer in several modalities, angelic Reiki, as well as Egyptian Sekhem healing. And I help embody the energies of Egypt here. From the ancient Egyptians, I bring the energies forth, and I travel and I speak and I teach classes in Egyptian Sekhem healing, as well as connect people with their Egyptian guides. So it's I'm able to bring forth the ancient wisdom and knowledge. And I travel to Egypt several times a year, both for myself as well as leading trips there, sacred spiritual tours. And I am blessed to have had a vision manifest in the physical, in my reality for me, where last year I was able to live in Luxor, Egypt, not as a tourist, but amongst the people in a rural village along the Nile, where I provided healing for several children and women there. And I have also gone through deep initiations and attunements, downloads received directly from many of the Egyptian gods and goddesses, and one of them was from goddess Sekhmet. Is a beautiful channeled attunement of Egyptian Sekhem healing. So that is where I'm able to bring this forward to others, providing healing for them, as well as teaching certified classes in that. So I'm really excited to bring this class to you tonight and help you immerse yourself into these ancient energies and sacred teachings.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you, Juliet. All right, so we're going to jump right in tonight because we do have limited time. We would like to honor an hour. We might go a little over. For those of you who have read what tonight's about, we will be doing Egyptian teachings, and then at the end of this evening, we will be presenting our ancient Egypt journey, which Juliet and I will be leading this December. And so if you're not interested in the journey, that's fine. You can hang up at the end. If you are, please stay on. We are going to be dropping some juicy news. But for now, I am going to begin to take you on a journey to the Giza Plateau. All right. For those of you who do not know what the Giza Plateau is, it is that typical image of Egypt that you get where you have the 3 pyramids. So you have the Great Pyramid and then 2 smaller ones set off from it. And you also have the Sphinx. So that beautiful plateau, the actual flat desert land there that the pyramids and the Sphinx is built on, is known as the Giza Plateau. All right. And I'm going to invite everyone to begin to make yourselves comfortable and cozy, because I am going to take you on a guided visualization, a guided journey to the plateau. And so whether you're sitting or laying, just begin to feel yourself relax into your space. Taking a few nice deep breaths. And really allowing yourself to exhale any stress, any tension, anything that's not serving you in this moment. And as you're breathing and just allowing yourself to drop into that relaxation, I'd like to explain a little bit about the energetics of the plateau, okay? So if you look at the pyramids, they are shaped in a triangle shape, and you have that peak reaching towards the stars. And when I was inside the Great Pyramid, which was actually exactly 3 years ago tonight, so in February 27th, 2017, I was inside the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid in sacred ceremony. And when I looked up, usually it's big stone roof, but instead I actually saw through the roof and out into the cosmos. And what we know about these pyramids is that they act as we'll just say a transformation tool, like a magnetic tool, and they actually will pull in negative ions from the cosmos. So they pull in energy from the cosmos and ground that energy down into the earth. And then what the Sphinx does is the Sphinx actually faces east, and it is said that it roars that energy out amongst the earth, right? And so it's kind of like waves of ions that are spreading through our atmosphere. And we can thank both the pyramids and the Sphinx for helping to initiate that energy and concentrate that energy. Okay. There is what's called a cartouche, which is a large stone block that's been carved. That's what you see, like all of the different carvings, all of the different hieroglyphs in Egypt carved on. And this large cartouche, or also sometimes known as a stele or a stele, is actually between the paws of the Sphinx. And when you walk up to it, it's probably about 6 or 7 feet tall, maybe even bigger. I know that I was able to actually lay my forehead on it, and there was still plenty of it above. But on this cartouche, on this stele, is information and actual carvings that describe this particular act of the pulling in of the negative ions from the stars and the ultimate creation of a supernova type energy on Earth. Okay? So think about how powerful that is, that we're actually getting blasted with these kind of minor supernova type energies from these ancient devices. All right. So now that you've all breathed and allowed yourself to relax and drop into your relaxation state, I'd like you to imagine that you can begin to gently float out of your bodies. Up into the sky. And allow yourself to float directly to that Giza Plateau. And some of you might be moving through time and dimension. So when you land at the plateau, it might feel very ancient. Or some of you might stay in the current moment or go into a future moment. Whatever it is, it's okay. It's what your intuition is opening to you. And as you fly towards and over that Giza Plateau, you see those beautiful 3 pyramid structures. And you also see the Great Sphinx. Allow yourself to gently land on the plateau. And as you do, really feel your feet planting in that dry, warm dirt. Allow yourself to be there, to smell the dusty air, to feel the breeze on your face. And notice that there's this very potent energy that's beginning to pulse under your feet. It's like the base of the plateau is alive. And as you look at the pyramids, we're going to invite you to gaze at them with cosmic eyes. So I'd like you to begin to notice energy that's being pulled down from the cosmos into the pyramids, down into the earth, and then funneling straight into the Sphinx so that it can be dispersed. And everyone take a nice deep breath. Good. And now I'm going to invite you to approach the Sphinx. And as you do, begin to feel that heat, that power emanating from the Sphinx. It is said that the different statues and carvings in Egypt that remain in their initial place contain the most power. And you'll actually feel like if you're in a museum, it's almost like the energy feels a little discombobulated because those statues, those power pieces have been moved. Whereas if you're in a temple and those statues or power pieces are in their initial state, they are almost alive. It's like you can see the eyes watching you. You can feel the energy coming off of them, even more so. And as you're looking at the Sphinx, I'd like you to begin to notice that energy portal at the Sphinx chest is similar to a giant sun. And so as you stand at the paws of the Sphinx and you look up at its head and then down to its chest, it's like there's this giant swirling portal of sun energy. Please allow yourself to enter into that portal and gently sit within that sun energy. And notice that as if you were in a bubble of pure light, that as you sit in that portal energy, that pure light is beginning to move through you. It's shining through the aura, then shining through the skin, penetrating into the bones and organs, the DNA. And we're going to invite that ultimate sun energy, that cosmic energy, to begin to alchemize you in whatever way it's meant to. So this is what's called a passive activation, where you're literally inviting a higher energy to begin to work with your body, always with the intention of the highest and greatest good. You don't need to know what it looks like. You take a few deep breaths as you surrender to that transformation. Some of you might feel your bodies wanting to rock. Others might feel some heat. Some might just be in a relaxed state. Whatever it is, it's perfect. And as that sun energy, that cosmic energy begins to swirl throughout your entire body. Like a corkscrew, it swirls up through the third eye, the pineal pituitary gland, up through the crown, and then up through the crown of the Sphinx. And that energy rockets straight into the solar system. And that energy begins to connect directly into every great central sun within the system. Right. And find yourself expanding out beyond the Sphinx. Find your energy expanding up through that channel in the top of your head and out towards the great central suns. And gathering all of the wisdom, all of the ancient information floating in the ethers. And as you expand up and out into this cosmic sun energy, I'd like you to imagine that you can gather that information. It's like you can draw it back down into your body, soak it back in, invite it to saturate you at the deepest levels, beyond cells, beyond DNA, beyond your blueprint. And now, beloveds, it's time to give gratitude to the universe. Thank you for this experience, this alchemical magic. And then I'd like you to imagine that you begin to draw all that energy back into you, coming back to whole within that heart portal, that sun portal within the Sphinx. And if you would like to remain in this juicy space, you're more than welcome to throughout the rest of this call. It's not going to hurt you. And if you would like to return to your body, please begin to gently do so now, exiting from that portal, finding yourself floating back up through the sky and back to the here and now. And I invite you to begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, and that'll help you drop back into your bodies. Okay, good. All right. And as you're coming back in, folks, if you had any really interesting experiences, you're more than welcome to put them in the chat. We'd love to hear your experiences. And I'm now going to pass to Juliet, now that we've got you all initiated and warmed up. And she's going to really take you on a journey down the Nile. So Juliet, go for it.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, for that beautiful, potent activation. I will now lead you on a journey through the sacred temples that correspond with your 7 main chakras. These sacred sites were built strategically along the River Nile. And the River Nile is the physical representation of the Milky Way. The ancient Egyptians were masters of harnessing laws of the cosmos and manifesting them into the physical. The ancient Egyptians believed that the River Nile represented the human backbone, our spine, where our chakras, energy centers are held. As above, so below, as within, so without, as with the universe, so with the soul. So on our root chakra, we are now journeying to Upper Egypt, to Aswan. And the root chakra is aligned with the Isis temple on Philae Island, which is the source of divine love, and also at Elephantine Island, which is dedicated to the god Khnum, who is the god of creation and survival. This temple is very ancient, as Khnum is he is the creator god. And this is where everything began on the Nile. The second chakra, our sacral chakra, is aligned with the temple of Kamambo, which is the only temple in Egypt that is dedicated to 2 gods. And they are Horus, the falcon god, and Sobek, the crocodile god. And this temple represents neutrality and balance of the shadow and light, which we all hold within each of us. This is one of my favorite temples. When you go there, it has a very unique energy, and it's very powerful, and it helps you connect into the parts of yourself that need to be seen, need to be observed and loved. And once you really see what is there inside of you that may be holding you back, as we said earlier before the call begins, when you are held within the Egyptian energies, it helps you transmute things very quickly. So if there are things within you that need to really be seen and shifted, this temple will help you do so very quickly. It's gentle. You're not going to feel it physically, but you'll be surprised at how quickly things shift in your life. So now we move to our solar plexus, which is aligned with Karnak temple in Luxor. And this temple is another one of my favorites. This is where the living statue of goddess Sekhmet lives. This statue has not been moved for over 3,000 years. And when you are in her presence, she does come alive. Some people have felt her warm embrace. Other people have seen her eyes open. It's very individual, and it's very personal for each person when you are in her presence. And she represents strength and power. She helps you empower yourself and step into your courage. And she's also a healer, a beautiful, powerful healer. From here, we travel to the heart chakra, which is aligned with Dendera Temple, which is dedicated to the goddess Hathor. And she is the goddess of love, music, and joy. And this is a very special temple. When you go there, you will be transformed, where you feel this bubbling, this beautiful, almost like a merriment, this joy that comes over you, and you're just open to laughter and love, and it's really beautiful. That was my experience there. I got very playful, and just I was bouncing around, and it's such an amazing, beautiful temple, and it just opens you wide. So now from here, we are traveling back to Lower Egypt, to Giza Plateau. And we are traveling to Giza, where Saqqara is. Saqqara is about 40-minute drive from the Giza Plateau. And the throat chakra is aligned with Saqqara. And this is where you will find the Egyptian god Thoth, who is the holy scribe. He is really the ascended communicator. And he is the wisdom keeper. And he helps you learn to speak your truth. Really tap into what needs to be said, what needs to be communicated. He gives you the power to step forward and say what needs to be said, and really helps you tap into your creativity. So he has beautiful energy, and he also helps you connect with the Akashic records. So he's really amazing to work with. So now we go back to the Sphinx. And the third eye is aligned with the Sphinx, who holds the connection to the soul star, and is the gateway into transcending the veil, into the other realms and galaxies. And when you work with the Sphinx, you clearly see what is real and what it is, what it means to live simultaneously within all worlds, and open up all your beautiful gifts and your psychic abilities, and whatever those look like for you. It's full expansion into that beautiful realm. So now we travel to the Great Pyramid, and this is connected with your crown chakra. The Great Pyramid connects us to the divine source, where we are all connected, where we are all one. It provides a deep connection to the great void, where everything and nothing came forth from. And this is beyond the great central sun, which is actually behind our sun that we see when we look in the sky. So this is also the gateway to our soul's spiritual ascension. And these are very powerful ancient sites, and the energies that they hold and have held for over 10,000 years. They are very potent. When you go there, you can still tap into them. When I went into the Great Pyramid in the King's Chamber, I could hear the music coming from the walls. It's amazing. They hold portals, and you're held within a timelessness. Time there is not the same as time here. It expands, and it embraces you. So right now, since we have tapped into the energies of each of these places, of these sacred sites, we are now going to do a little journey back along the Nile. So if you will take a nice, slow, deep breath in and close your eyes and get comfortable. And we are going to take another nice, slow, deep breath in and fully align our chakras with these sacred energies. And it might be easier to see yourself fully extended, your spiritual body fully extended all the way from Aswan to the Giza Plateau. And see yourself lined up with your chakras, aligned with each of these sacred sites. So take another slow breath here as you fully align and integrate these energies. And now I ask you to open up your crown chakra, allowing the golden white light from the central sun to flow in, infusing your body, coming in from the crown to your third eye, through the throat, through the heart, through the plexus, the sacral, and the root. And feel this golden light infusing you, infusing every inch, every part of your physical self, and vibrating into your light bodies. Feel it coursing through all of you. And now run this energy, still coming in from your crown, through all your chakras, down into your feet, looping up the back side of your chakras, while it's still coming in from the top, creating a continuous loop. Let it flow. And while you are immersed in this sacred ancient energies, I now invite you to open up your heart. Open up your heart chakra and allow the pink gold color healing light from your heart fill your chest. Move up through your throat and to your crown, and then back to your heart and to your lower chakras. Infusing every part of your beings with this beautiful healing light of unconditional love. All the while, still allowing the golden light from the central sun to infuse and to circulate along that loop so that you feel and connect with these sacred healing energies at the same time as you saturate your entire beings with the unconditional love. For it is through your heart that you connect with all, with divine source and all beings that you encounter here on earth or in the different realms and dimensions. And now, slowly, I ask you to bring yourself back. You may allow yourself to still feel these healing energies as they course through you, but slowly start bringing yourself back into full alignment with your physical self. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you'd like to share how that experience was for you, please do so in the comments. And remember, once you have tapped into these energetic sacred sites, these ancient holders of the healing and the wisdom, know that you can return back here at any time. And don't be surprised if you start feeling different awarenesses step forward, or you may have new connection with different guides, or your beautiful intuition and your gifts may be, they might be expanding. So just see how this plays out for each of you. So thank you. And Sarah, I turn it back to you.
Okay, and thank you, Juliet. That was potent. And you know, it's beautiful because as you're laying on the Nile, right, which is known as the River of Gold, there is this flushing sensation, and it's like wisdom is being moved through you, within you, and obviously being supported by the different gods and goddesses of Egypt and their different energies, which are all so amazingly beautiful and individual. For any of you who have worked with the Egyptian gods and goddesses before, Isis is not going to feel like Sekhmet, and Sekhmet is not going to feel like Hathor. Thoth, I am a full body channel for Thoth. He is not going to feel like Ra or Osiris or any of those other beings. And so they really do have individuality, and what they bring forward is potent and sacred, and it will kick your butt, as we said earlier, in the best way. So
you will be rocked. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if anyone would like to share their experience or really share anything about this call or the energies that you have tapped into tonight. And if you do, please just write something in the comments, and then I will go ahead and unmute you. Anyone at all? I see typing. No, not typing. Okay. Well, Denise, very powerful energies. Awesome. Okay, so Denise, let me find you. There you are. Okay, so Denise, I have unmuted you. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Hello. Nice.
Hi, Denise. Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
All right. So Denise, is there anything in particular you'd like to share?
I have experienced Juliet's teachings, and this was my first time with you, Sarah, and I really enjoyed it. It was very powerful from both of you. But yeah, it was, I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay in it, but I wanted to enjoy both of the experiences. So I just went back into my body and went through the whole thing. So
Great.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, it's,
Thank you.
I know that probably a lot of you feel this way, that this work can almost be addicting because it does feel so good, right? To when you really drop into that spirit soup or that cosmic energy. It pulls you into theta, it pulls you into that expanded state, and it's beautiful, right?
Yeah, I like your term juicy stuff. I like that.
Juicy, yeah. I use juicy a lot. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay, so Lorraine is asking, can you tell us where you will be visiting in Egypt? Yes, you definitely can. So for those of you who are not interested in the Egypt journey in December, now would be the time that if you felt compelled to hang up, you absolutely could. But if you'd like to stay on and learn a little bit more about it, we will be chatting about that, okay? So, wow, Lorraine, ultimately everywhere that Juliet connected us to on her journey, right? So Philae Temple, Dendera, Komombo, the Giza Plateau, Saqqara, all of those places we will be visiting. This is a 12-day, 11-night retreat. Yes. We will start at the Giza Plateau, and then we will cruise down the Nile on a luxury private yacht that just has us on it and a private chef. And we will be hitting, I think, 10 temples as we go down the Nile.
Yes, there were several that I hadn't mentioned, but when we are on the Nile, every day we will be going to a different temple, and we will be spending a few hours at each one. And it's a beautiful, amazing journey along the Nile River, because as you are floating upon her, you are held within her energetic healing. And you know, as I had said earlier, it's a representation of the Milky Way. So you are, as you sail at different points, you receive different healing and different activations. And it's something that is quite special. And on our trip, we have the private dahabeyas, which are the traditional boats, not the feluccas, which are the sailboats. This is different. It's the yachts, and they are only for us. If we have 10 people, if we have 15 people, it's just for our group. It's our floating temple, where a lot of the other tourists you'll see there are on these really big boats that hold 100 to 200 people. So with us, it's a very intimate, very special trip along the Nile. And we make it our floating temple, where we hold deep teachings and meditation, and we do things on the boat because we have the privacy, and it's really ours to create a very special individual trip for you, very sacred and really full of magic.
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, and there is, you know, you will see people on things that could be described as cruise ships as well on the Nile, and that's not necessarily the experience that we want to provide for you guys. So I went ahead and put the link in the comments, innervisioninstitute.com/Egypt. That has all of the information on the trip plus a daily itinerary. But we really wanted to highlight some reasons why this trip would be special and why it would be different than you traveling to Egypt to maybe just be a tourist, okay? So first and foremost, we actually have the opportunity to have 3 private customized visits within sacred temples, either before they open or after they close. And so it will just be our group, our Egyptologist in there. And during those times, we'll be able to have sacred ceremony. We will be able to channel. We will be able to conduct teachings. We will be able to, lay down and immerse in the energies. Okay. And so these 3 places where we get private time is first would be our opening ceremonies. And that's where we'll actually be taken between the paws of the Sphinx on our first full day in Egypt. And with that, if you would normally visit the Sphinx, you're actually required to be behind fences, and you're up on a hill, and you're about, I'd say, 60 to 100 feet away from the actual Sphinx. And so you only get to really view it from afar. What we get is we're taken onto the plateau at about 6 in the morning, and we're actually walked down to the Sphinx. So you can lay on her paws. You can place your forehead on the stele, the cartouche that is between the paws. We will be doing sacred activations there. And from there, we actually get to walk up onto the plateau and around the pyramids, see all the camels being trucked in, do a camel ride, things like that. Our second private visit is the Temple Philae, which is the Isis temple. Once again, we will be taken there at sunrise before it opens to the public. And we actually get to go to Isis's sacred chamber. And once again, conduct ceremony, have time within her space. So, this is hours and hours of very, very individualized, customized treatment that most people wouldn't get. And then our final private trip is actually within the Great Pyramid, and that's our closing ceremonies. And so if you were to just go to the Giza Plateau as a tourist, what they do is they usually line up the first 100 people that want to get in line in front of the Great Pyramid, and they allow them to walk through a very certain area, like a lower area of the Great Pyramid. And it's usually like 10 or 15 minutes, and you have to keep moving. You're in a line. And so you do get to go in, but you don't really get to like spend any time in there. And it's very, you're monitored, they don't want anyone like drawing on the walls or anything. What happens for us is that after the plateau has closed at sunset, we are pretty much given the Great Pyramid, and we get to go within, and we normally go to the King's Chamber, which is the highest chamber. It is a sacred sound chamber where we have 2 hours of private time. Usually during this time, we are chanting, singing. We're actually using the sound. You'll be able to, some of you will be able to see the walls vibrating. As I shared earlier, I actually saw the roof open, and I saw the cosmos. I saw Orion's belt above us. That was also the place where Thoth integrated within me, and I began full body channeling him. And so those are just a few of the experiences that we have that would be considered non-tourist sacred experiences that we're able to provide for you. On top of when we are staying in Cairo, we are at a very luxury hotel. It's called the Mina House. It's a 5-star hotel, and it overlooks the pyramids. So you're literally staying on the plateau. Talk about a huge blast of energy. And then, as Juliet explained earlier, once we're on the Nile, we do have our private dahabaya. So we have staterooms on that, which are the lower level. We have private chef. And then we also have a wonderful spiritual Egyptologist. It's interesting, but a lot of the people in Egypt and a lot of the Egyptologists, they're not attached to the spiritual piece. They're more attached to the science, or just kind of blurting out the information that they learned in their schooling, right? It's kind of like hearing a history lesson versus actually going back in time and being in history. And so we also get to see Egypt from a different standpoint because our Egyptologist is aligned with both the current information and the ancient information. All right. So anything you want to add, Juliet?
Yeah. So we also, along with our private times in the between the paws of the Sphinx and at Isis's temple and in the Great Pyramid, we also, with that, what comes with that is we have time. We can take the time to go as deeply as we need to, and also we're able to touch and to feel the ancient stones, the ancient limestone, the rocks, the sand. We can feel it, we can hold it, we can lean against it, we could really tap into the energy and let it infuse us. Where when you are on, when you go there as a regular tourist, you're not allowed to touch, you're not allowed to get too close. So we really are able to go into these ancient sacred sites that are very holy. And back in ancient Egypt, the villagers were not allowed into these places. It was only for the pharaohs and the queens and the their priests and priestesses, and it was for sacred immersion into their wisdom and their alchemy, their teachings. So we are actually walking in the footsteps of these powerful people. And it's beautiful because we can really become one. And we, as Sarah had said, we aren't lined up with 100 other people or even more, right? We go to these sites when the town is either, not fully awake, or it is, they're winding down for the night, and we actually have this time for ourselves. And that's very rare. As Sarah said, with our spiritual Egyptologist, he's able to link the past with the modern in a very engaging, very passionate, very knowledgeable way, all from the heart. So it's very beautiful to experience this unique journey.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So any other questions about the trip? If there are, you can go ahead and put them in the comments. And for this call only, for the next 24 hours, Juliet and I are actually offering a special masterclass. This masterclass will be in the future, right? But for anyone who is ready to step onto the Egypt retreat, ready to put their deposit down, in the next 24 hours, if you do that, we are going to be offering a Channel Your Egyptian Guides class. And so that is it's going to be a really potent masterclass. Both Juliet and I have been full body channels for many, many years, and we're going to be not only connecting you to your Egyptian guides, but having you actually drop the energy into your bodies and really go through some deep transformation before you even get to Egypt. So we're literally starting the process. This will be a 2-day masterclass. It will be something that if you're not able to attend in person, we will make time online for you as well. And once again, that's for anyone who's ready to jump. Ultimately, we've had so many people that are like, yes, I am there, and we're ready to welcome you, right? This is going to be a big trip, and so we're here for you. We're here for any questions. Alexia just wrote in the comment, she said, when you were there 3 years ago, was it your first time? Feels like so much magic. I feel drawn to summit. Okay, so yes, when I was there 3 years ago, it was my first time actually laying foot in Egypt. And like many of you have probably felt that pull to Egypt or the Egyptian energies. I had been feeling that pull since I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I knew that one day I would get there. So I literally just left it open to the universe, and the universe pushed me to Egypt. It was amazing and beautiful. And it was one of those situations where, for me, it was intimidating. I didn't know, what it was going to look like or why I was going, but so much magic happened in that time. And it was profound, and it changed my life. And I know that it's changed Juliet's life, and she's been there lots.
Yeah, for me, it was the first time I went. It was actually my soul's journey home. It was transformational for me. I have been there a total of 4 different times. Each time is just so unique. It's so beautiful and so potent in different ways, because you receive the healing that you need for that time when you arrive. And it shifts things in you. And as I said, I had a vision after I was there my first time, and later it manifested into a physical reality for me, where I was not there as a tourist. I was actually there walking and living amongst, the beautiful, Nile River there, and I was living with the villagers in a remote part of Luxor, and really becoming one with the energies. And it was amazing and transformational. And I am a spiritual alchemist, and my really beautiful deep connection with Egyptian goddess Sekhmet as I full body channel her with the different netheroo that appeared to me. It's been life-changing, and I know I will be doing this for the rest of my life, leading sacred trips to Egypt. So I can honestly say, if you've always been pulled but you're not quite sure, say yes to yourself and follow your heart, and let your soul guide you. It's not something that you will regret.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes we have these calls in our soul and we don't quite know why, and it will be revealed, right? So, okay, so once again, the website for any Egypt information that you might need is in the comments. It's innervisioninstitute.com/Egypt, or you can just go to innervisioninstitute.com. There's a retreat page which will lead you to Egypt. Juliet and I are available for any questions, anything that you need. We've both been there. We know the safety of it. I know that coronavirus is a big thing coming up right now. And yeah, it's real, right? We definitely don't want to underplay that there is a plague heading through the earth at this moment. And ultimately my feeling is that in about 4 to 6 months, it will have been moved through the population. And even more so, about 80% of the population is not having symptoms, right? And so this is a flu, and we definitely want you guys to keep your immune systems up, be aware of it, take time to protect yourself. But do I see coronavirus being an issue in December? Intuitively looking into it, no. So everyone just feel in. And once again, we're here for any questions. I do see there's one more. Would we be able to travel there with you or others in the group? Yes. So once we get the group list together, what we do is we recommend flight times and flights out of certain areas, and then everyone tends to kind of coalesce and meet. A lot of the flights to Egypt do lay over in New York, and so sometimes people might be on their own from like their city to New York, but then we all kind of, come together on the New York to Cairo flight. Also, once you get to Cairo, you will be met pretty much as soon as you deplane by one of our representatives who will be like holding your name, and they will walk you through the entire Cairo airport, the entire welcome process, everything. And so you will be held the entire time. We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel contained.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also what I wanted to say really quickly is we have a 3-night, 4-day extension once the main Egypt trip is over for any of you who would like to travel to Alexandria. And we will go on an amazing tour of the homeland of Queen Cleopatra. And it is a beautiful coastal city along the Mediterranean Sea, and it's infused with Greek temples and architecture, these ancient ruins, and it is, it still has that Egyptian vibe, but it's really like being in a Mediterranean city. It's different than the rest of Egypt that we will be visiting. So that'll be, again, 3 nights and 4 days if anyone would like to see more of Egypt.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Once again, we are here for you if you need anything. I will also place the recording of this call on the Egypt page. So if you wanted to revisit, you're more than welcome to. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.